All right, and remember the conversation of the day, that is all about nutrition and weight management. And of course, the question that we're asking you today is, what do you do to stay healthy? Feel free to interact with us. Remember to send us a tweet on @NTV Kenya @Lubembe_Winnie. I've seen some pretty interesting comments, but we'll be looking at them during the show. But of course, to the guests that we have on set today, remember, like, we are talking about the aspect of weight and nutrition and how you stay healthy. I am joined by Japheth Widstone, who's a consultant clinical nutritionist right here in Studio 8. So good to see you. Thank you very much for making time for us, Japheth. And also in Studio B, we have Amina Mude Kitili, who's a health and wellness enthusiast. It's so good to see you. Thank you very much for making time for us this morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
All right. And of course, joining us on Zoom is Salome Oko, who's a youth development specialist. Good morning, Salome. How are you doing this morning? Okay, all right. Now, let's start with you, Japheth. You know, when we talk about health and being healthy, and like I said, of course, the year is relatively young. So many people are like, you know what, one of my goals this year is to stay healthy or to, you know, to be fit and all those things. But really, let's just understand the term healthy. What exactly does that mean?
Oh, thank you so much, Winnie, for having me. According to WHO, health is the state of being okay socially, mentally, and physically, and not just the absence of disease. Sometimes we take health as the absence of disease or the presence of it. But it's not just about the absence or the presence of disease, but it's the state, the well-being of a person, emotionally, physically, and just the general well-being of a person. So that state of being okay is what we call health.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like what you brought, an aspect of not just the absence of disease, but also making sure that your mental health is okay, you're also okay physically and emotionally. And that is really good, because most of the times when we talk about health, we tend to focus on, I am not sick, so that means I am okay.
True.
Now, also in our, I don't want to say culture, but us as a people, most of the time when we see someone is a little bit bigger, we say, ah, uyu ako sawa, uyu ako sawa, you know?
True.
Is that the right way to look at things, and especially when we talk about health?
I agree with you, Winnie. Most of the time, we look at culturally. I think it's mostly it's our culture. We tend to look at big people. Somehow we think they're okay. Some of us look at like a second look. But I want to say that weight is not just about the physical being. Because either way, there's overweight problems and also the underweight problems. So we also have the optimum weight. Okay. So that is why we ought to know what's the optimum weight. And that is why we have things like the BMI, the body mass index. The body mass index tells you what score are you in the normal chart for a normal human being. And for a normal human being, it ought to be around 18.5 to 24.5 kilograms per square meter. That is by WHO standards. So there are also issues of not just the big, but also the underweight. So in weight is not just a matter for big,
someone to you know, being big, or because again, most of the times, but like you said, don't just judge by the eyes and see, uyu ako sawa. There could be something else. Someone might be bigger, but then again, according to their body mass index, they could be underweight, right?
Yes.
All right. Now let's talk to Salome, because Salome has an interesting story, same as Amina, and I'm really, really happy to have both of you today so that we can understand your journey as far as maintaining and attaining, first of all, the ideal weight that you wanted and making sure that you maintain it. But before all this, Salome, take us back to when you started considering your health, what happened, and what are some of the steps that you took to make sure that you are healthy? Because it's pretty interesting.
Morning, everyone. So I got a wake-up call about my weight about 2 years ago. I was diagnosed with PCOS, and the doctor basically, so I took it upon myself to go to the extreme fast weight loss, intermittent fasting. So I did it for 2.5 months, and during that period,
all right,
I was
Salome,
able.
we seem to have a bit of an issue with your internet, so let's just sort that out, and then we'll come back to you because your story is pretty interesting and would love to hear that. But for now, let's talk to Amina. Amina, your journey is just, you know, it's just amazing to see the difference from where you are and where you are right now, and the fact that you are championing for people to just stay healthy. Not all about just losing weight and then that's it, but to remain healthy, to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So let's go back all the way to 2015. All right, what happened?
Growing up, I've always been someone who has never have issues with weight. I was always healthy. Back when I got my first child, that was in 2014/2015, I added weight. And for me, I thought this is just the normal pregnancy weight. But 6 months, let's say 3 to 6 months down the line, I am still adding more and more weight. So I moved from around 69 kgs all the way to 90. And that for me was a wake-up call, but really I was not so keen about it because that's the period where I learned that I have an underlying condition. It's an autoimmune disorder by the name Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Is when your thyroid is underworking, so you get array of symptoms from cold feet to hair loss to depression and also weight issues. So I tried to lose weight for quite some time. I tried the yo-yo diet. You try this thing for a day, then another day you try something else, and then I carried the weight, the 30 kgs, for like 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Now my wake-up call was when I got pregnant with my second child. I knew I was starting pregnancy at a higher weight of 90 kgs. So I said, let me just get through these 9 months, get my baby. Then during that time, I took time out to really try and understand what is being healthy. How do you really lose weight from a point where you understand how your body functions? So when I got my second baby, I hit the ground running. And when I say that, I think it was 2 months after getting my baby, I decided to start intermittent fasting. And for me, the approach was, I was looking at it from a healthy lifestyle. I didn't want to do it for like 2 months or 3 months or lose weight, because I had done that in the past and clearly nothing was working out for me. And mind you, I had known that my condition, one of the symptoms is that it's so easy for you to lose weight, but it's so hard for you to lose weight, but you gain it. So I went back, did research, started intermittent fasting then. So I moved from 110 kgs to around 107. Then I started going to the gym, and within 9 months, I lost over 30 kgs.
Yes, the transformation was, I mean, we saw some of the videos, and especially when you were celebrating your weight loss, I mean, the transformation is so literal. You can clearly see it. And this is the thing, because a lot of people would say, listen, I have tried to lose weight, I cannot. But just want us to go back a little bit when you were diagnosed with Hashimoto's, which January is the Hashimoto's Awareness Month. So it's a very special month to you.
Yes.
You know, as you strive to also pass more awareness on this, especially when it comes to underlying conditions that people did not know. So you did not know that this is what you had, right?
So for me, for 5 years, I was taking Hashimoto's as being the reason, like hiding behind this disease, saying, the doctor said I cannot lose weight, so what am I going to do? I'm just going to carry the weight. But I took that. Now I'll say my second return trying to lose weight, I decided to actually understand how my body functions as a person who has Hashimoto's. So intermittent fasting was a thing that stood out for me. I decided to go big and then change my diet. For me, it was a total transformation from my mind, my body, and my soul. I decided to just make sure I eat right. I go to the gym. Not only do I take care of my body and in terms of eating, even my mental space. I decided to look into, what to do to improve, my mental space. For me, it was a 360 turn, and it's been almost 2 years of losing and maintaining, the weight loss. So I feel like weight loss it's a delicate topic, but
is.
once you decide to deal with it and take it as a lifestyle change, it's very achievable and manageable.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you are emphasizing on maintaining this lifestyle. It's not like just struggle all through, you know, go through the hustle of trying to lose weight, and that is going to the gym or intermittent fasting or doing whatever, and then after you achieve the ideal weight, and then you forget about all those things. It's a lifestyle. Now, I'm curious to know, when you're practicing intermittent fasting, how much weight did you lose? But I'll come back to in just a moment. Do we have Salome back? Or before we sort Salome, Salome is back. All right, so Salome, again, you also tried intermittent fasting and it worked really, really well for you. Like within 2.5 months, you had lost a substantial amount of weight, like 18 kgs in 2.5 months. That's amazing, you know. And when I was talking to you, I'm like, listen, intermittent fasting is not for everyone. It is not for the faint-hearted. But let's just go back to your story. When did you experience a turnaround? When, first of all, did you realize that, you know what, this is not my ideal weight, I need to do something about it?
Okay, that was back in 2019. I gained, I always grew up being a small girl. So I gained about 20 or 25 so kilograms in a span of 3 years. And I couldn't understand what was happening. So hapa kule, I came to realize that I had PCOS, and it was a factor of my weight gain throughout the whole period. So the doctor advised me, you need to lose weight. So I took into IF. I went into intermittent fasting. I did up to 72 hours of fasting.
Wow.
And I was able to lose about 18 kilograms. And yeah, it is not for the faint-hearted.
Yeah.
I lost the weight, maintained the weight for about 7 months. And then I got ill again, and I had to gain back some weight. But I can tell you, intermittent fasting, yes, it works, but you have to maintain a clean diet. You have to exercise, and you have to basically live a healthy life throughout when you are done with it. But I think we need to consult a doctor first before you get into intermittent fasting, because bodies are different. And you might end up doing more harm to your body than doing more good to your body. So this is an advice: before anyone gets into intermittent fasting, seek medical advice first. Let your doctor diagnose you and say if your body is fit to undergo intermittent fasting, because we go to extreme ends sometimes for us to lose it.
All right. And I like what, I mean, both of you look amazing. Amina, you look amazing. Salome, you look amazing. And I like the fact that both of you are actually pointing out something that is very, very important, because a lot of people struggle with the same. Probably some have underlying conditions and they do not know. And they end up, let's say, gaining weight or losing weight without necessarily knowing what is happening. And Japhet, this is where I bring you in terms of, we put out so much pressure on ourselves sometimes as, you know, people, that I'm gaining so much weight. Maybe it's because of what I'm eating. Maybe it's because I'm not doing this. Maybe I'm not exercising enough. But really, sometimes maybe there's something, you know, within us that we don't know. Maybe like medical conditions that we don't know. So when it comes to that aspect of then weight gain, and that is unintentional weight gain, what are some of the factors that might add to the same?
Thank you, Winnie. I think listening from both Amina and Salome, you get to notice that weight is not just a matter of food.
Yes.
It's not about just look at someone and say, oh, they're overeating. They don't know how to be generous with food, all kind of stuff. You realize there are some underlying conditions, like Hashimoto for Amina, and PCOS for Salome.
Yes.
You know, some of these things are caused by our lifestyle. And sometimes, as I had mentioned earlier, being healthy is not just that you don't have the disease.
Okay.
It's a state of well-being. So sometimes we may need diagnosis, medical advice, medical you know, consultation to discover that sometimes you have underlying issues. Because we also have people who are suffering from weight because it's genetic, it's hereditary, it's in the family line. Sometimes it's underlying conditions like Hashimoto, like we had for Amina. So it's not just not about food. So it's a whole range of matters. That is why we need expert opinion and expert advice, especially when you notice you have unintentional weight gain. And sometimes you're not eating too much to notice the weight gain, but it's continuing to rise and rise. Like for Hashimoto's case, for Amina, it's the autoimmune disease causes the body to have hyperthyroidism. Hyperthyroidism is when we have less production of the thyroid. So the body has low function and causes the person to develop weight gain without them noticing. So they notice that they have the boom, but they ain't eating, but there is the weight gain.
Is it drastic, the weight gain, or it's just gradual?
Like for her case and many other conditions, with her condition, it happens gradually, and you may not notice.
You might not notice it.
Yes. Because because of the Hashimoto condition, for example, the body slows down processes and metabolism. So you store up fat, you store up calories. You don't break down as much calorie as expected. So the body stores up and stores up. Then you notice that you're big, you're booming, and then start developing more conditions. And then, sadly enough, once the weight starts booming, and then it starts bringing out other conditions, like you had for Salome when she was developing PCOS because of the weight. So sometimes it affects, brings fertility issues because of the excess weight gain. Then you go to delivery, the person that makes the child predisposed to certain conditions. Like we have babies born with diabetes, gestational diabetes. Or sometimes the mother goes for delivery and then they have excess blood pressure, what we call preeclampsia and eclampsia, because of the pre-existing weight. So weight in itself is a disease, sorry to say. And that is why we're having this discussion this morning, that people get the awareness that it's not just about fitting into a nice dress or getting into a nice jacket, the way I'm looking this morning, but it's sorry, but it's more of a health issue. A health concern. So that as I grow big, am I still within the BMI that I talked about? The range of a normal, healthy human being. So that it doesn't end up again that the weight or the physical appearance that I had now leads me to having some other, medical conditions.
And more emphasis is usually put on weight gain, right? But then again, there's also something else that we talked about, and that is underweight, where someone is like, listen, I am doing everything right, but still I am not gaining weight. If anything, my weight continues to drop. So most of the time, what could this be? Because again, this might, I want to assume, of course, would bring about other health issues.
True. Thank you, Winnie. The focus mostly on weight has been on the other side of the scale. But we forget that the silent minority on the other side of the scale, they are struggling to add weight. They're struggling to catch up with the optimum weight. They are underweight. And going on the other side of the scale, sometimes you develop issues like mild acute malnutrition and severe acute malnutrition. Mild and severe acute malnutrition, sometimes it's evident in particular areas of our country, where you see very tiny babies or very tiny individuals. But you see, once somebody has low weight, it affects your what we call the immunity. Weight and immunity goes hand in hand. It's a vicious cycle. When you have low weight, you have low immunity. But again, when you have excess weight, it predisposes you to other diseases and infections.
And that affects your immunity
as well. And it affects immunity as well. Because once you're diabetic, you start getting other conditions. When you start having high blood pressure, it brings other conditions. So weight and immunity is a vicious cycle. It's on the other side, you get low immunity, then you suddenly this becomes a sickly child. Children who have low birth weight and also grow up with small weight, they're always predisposed to infections like pneumonia, diarrhea, because of the weight, meaning the immunity is low. So that is why we are focused on the optimum weight, so that you are within the normal range, so that your immunity is at par, your body is strong enough to fight infections, your body is strong enough to fight diseases. Like right now in the pandemic, the global pandemic, and you see part of the at-risk groups as these people who have pre-existing conditions,
yeah.
like the diabetes and the hypertension and, you know, such kind of things. Other dangerous and or at risk thing is the underweight. Because once you're underweight, it means you have low immunity.
Yeah, and
so
you're predisposed
and
to,
you're
like,
predisposed. You walk
yeah.
in matatus in town, you walk around people's knees, you catch flu.
Yeah.
Next time you COVID, it was like,
yeah.
God forbid.
Yeah.
But that is why we have the focus on healthy eating.
Yes.
And I liked what I think it was Salome. She said it's not just about going to the gym and then tomorrow you're back, then doing a diet. No, it's a lifestyle.
Something that you have to maintain.
maintain.
But you see, when it comes to maintaining the same is where there's a very big challenge for so many people, because you're like, you know what, I have achieved my ideal weight, you know, so we forget and then we go back to, you know, the previous lifestyle, which again predisposes us to gaining the weight that we had lost initially. And for you, Amina, you started with intermittent fasting for yourself because you needed this weight out, all right, and just to achieve your ideal weight. So how fast did that work? But before that, we have a call on the line. All right. Oh, we have your pictures of before and after, and like I said, that transformation is just amazing. So there you go. I mean, wow. Could you just talk us through these two pictures of the same person?
For me, when I look at the photos, it's not just the physical transformation.
Exactly.
It's, in terms of my health. Like I mentioned earlier, I had an underlying condition, and
yes.
I had experienced all the symptoms that were, if they were written down for anyone who's suffering for Hashimoto's. But gradually, as the weight goes, I will realize, you know, I can climb up the stairs, you know, I could sleep better, my mental space. I felt, not only did I look good when wearing a new pair of dress or shoes, but I felt really nice.
Yes.
I was at a point in my life where I felt like I wish I had done this 5 years ago. And for me, that is the feeling that constantly wakes me up every single morning, Monday to Friday, to go to the gym. Because I know I've been there when you have weight issues and you struggle with so many things to the point where you're now healthy and you feel so good. For me, it's the feeling that you know, and how your life transforms. You actually become a new person when you lose weight, and you know, you will introduce yourself as a new person.
And I mean, it's evident even like on your face when you're just like, you know, like you suddenly light up when you're talking about it's not only physical but also you know, like internally, like mentally, your self-esteem, your confidence, you know, boosting your confidence and all those things. So it's really, really amazing to see this transformation. So let's talk about then the work that you had to put in, because a lot of people probably might see the photos and be like, hey, Piami, I want to do this, you know, and start hitting the gym first thing, or probably start with intermittent fasting, which you said you started with. Talk us through the amount of work that you had to put in to make sure that you are where you are today.
So when it comes to intermittent fasting, it's all about the progress. You don't just start from 0 to 100. For me, I took the first 2 months of my weight loss journey, I decided to just focus on my diet. For me, I felt like diet is the bigger chunk of weight loss, so I needed to master that art, then transition to now that I am good at eating and fasting, then now I joined the gym. But when I started out, I started with the most basic. The people who are aware of intermittent fasting, I started with a 13-hour fast. Gradually, I moved to 16. And for me, how I knew it's time to move, it's because I felt better, so I continued. So I will say the first 6 months, and this is being honest, I did the sort of extreme way of fasting, like the way Salome mentioned. So I'll go up to 48 hours, 72 hours of fasting. But then again, it got to a point that I realized, okay, so now you're losing the weight, but you're still working out. So you need to find the balance between being strong enough to go to the gym. Because when I go to the gym, I lift weights and your body needs food. And then here is intermittent fasting, where you basically don't eat. So I started to look at it from a different perspective. And I had lost like 25 kg, so I felt better, but I needed to go back to the drawing board, because I did not want to just lose weight. I wanted to be in perfect, if there's something called perfect health. So I needed to work out, and working out means you need to eat. So I looked at my diet and started eating more proteins. I started fasting less. or the days that I'm not working out, I try and do longer fasts. But when I got to a point that when I lost over 35 kgs, then I started to really avoid the long fast, because I will go to the gym and like lift heavy weight. So when it comes to intermittent fasting, what I will say is that you need to fast, consult your doctor, understand your body, and then take it slow. For me, I'll say it took me 5 years to move from, let's say, 70 kgs to all the way 90. Why do you expect to lose the weight in 1 month?
It's
you
not
cannot.
possible.
It's impossible.
Yes.
If there was a script where people can go for 1 month and lose all the weight, then everybody
would do
so,
yes.
Skinny and whatever. But it took you time, and then your bodies are different. For me, that's another more important thing, that my body as Amina today, I have Hashimoto's. I cannot just do anything.
Yes.
I read about it, consult my doctor, but the most important thing is that I listen to my body.
I love that.
If I try something and I feel like I'm getting a headache or it's not working for me, out.
Yes.
I live to try another day.
Yeah.
Something new.
I like that. Because again, now, and I'm saying this, people might be watching you, Amina and Salome, and thinking, hey, it worked. So me, I'm just jumping into it, intermittent fasting, 50 hours a day. Me, I'm not going to eat anything. But I like what both of you are emphasizing. Consult your doctor first before you do anything else. So Salome, I know for you, you did intermittent fasting for 2.5 months, and it worked amazing for you. Like we said, you lost 18 kgs. Again, take us through the work. I mean, how long, like you said, you decided to go ham, 72 hours sometimes of not eating. So someone might be like, wait, what did you do? Because I'm trying to understand your body. Weren't you shaking? Weren't you feeling like weak? Weren't you feeling like, you know what, I am going to pass out in the next few minutes? Take us through, let's say, the first 72 hours of intermittent fasting for you.
72 hours came in a little at the end.
Okay.
This was like the last 3 weeks of my intermittent fasting. And remember the first day I started, something told me to go for 24 hours. And trust me, I almost collapsed.
Yes.
Like it got to 12 hours and I was like, what am I doing?
You moved from 3 meals a day
so
to no
I
meals
consulted
for 24 hours. Yes.
For 24 hours. Like
Yes.
I eat and then I go for 24 hours without eating. That was the first day. I made that mistake. And I almost literally fainted.
Yes. Yeah.
So a friend told me, that is not how you go about it. Your body needs to get used bit by bit. So I started at 6 hours. 6 hours, I did 6 hours for 3 days. My body was adjusting. Then I moved to 8 hours for another 3 days. After 8 hours, I did 3 days for, 8 hours. And then I moved to 16 hours for 4 days. So I was moving gradually, bits by bits by bits by bits. So I will not advise people to go to the extreme of fasting for 72 hours.
Yeah.
No, I think that is madness that we are doing to ourselves.
Yes.
So I think I will not advise anyone to go for 76 hours.
Yeah.
I think the maximum anyone should be doing intermittent fasting is 24 hours.
24 hours. Okay.
That is my opinion from the experience that I had. So what I used to do, I basically cut off wheat. I never used to take wheat at all in my meals. I will take the plant-based carbohydrates, then dumas, viazi tamu, and mihogo.
Yes.
So that is what I used to eat, and a lot of vegetables and a lot of fruits. And I used to walk. I used to walk for 12 kilometers every single day.
Wow.
Yeah, I would walk for 12 kilometers. And I was so shocked that I could actually walk for 12 kilometers and not feel anything.
Yeah.
So I used to go, I live in Taita. So I used to go up the hill for 6 kilometers and then come down.
The hill.
So I used to do this every evening. It took me like an hour, 30 minutes, and I am done with 12 kilometers. Like I go like that. I used to put in, because I realized I'm not a gym person. And if you're not a gym person, you look for something that actually
That
works
can work
for you.
I love
Whatever
that.
works for you, take that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And walking actually works for me. And you'll rarely see me I walk a lot. So I used to walk and walk and walk. And my friends used to meet me and like, squeeze you, call. So basically, those are the things that I put in place. Clean diet.
Yes.
And I took exercise in the form of walking.
Yeah, because a lot of people feel the pressure to actually hit the gym because, again, there's that pressure of I need to lose this weight ASAP. And for you, I remember we talked about what we talked about, and you said I needed to lose this weight no matter what, and you did the intermittent fasting and you know, again, putting in extra work that is walking and just watching your diet as well. So I know we need to let you go at exactly 8 p.m. So let's just fast forward. So after you lost the weight in 2.5 years, right? Months actually. So what happened then? Because you said you regained the weight back, but yeah, what happened?
Yeah. So I gained back. I gained 8 kgs back because I got sick. I had to slow down on my body and on exercising and all those things. So within that period, I've been able to gain 6 kgs back. Because when I started, I was at 79 kgs. When I started my intermittent fasting, I was at 79 kgs. And so I moved down to 61, and then I came back to maintaining it at 63, because there is where my body was working out okay for me.
All right.
And sick, and I gained 8 kgs back. So right now I'm at 71, and I'm thinking of losing a few, 5-6 kgs, and that is work in progress.
Yeah, I love the fact that you said, listen, I had to take a break, because like Amina said, again, listen to your body. If it's not, you know, if you do not feel good, then make sure that take a break a little bit and then probably go back. So I love that. So let's take a very short break. But of course, when we come back, then Salome, I'd want to understand, what would you tell people, especially those ones who feel the pressure to just jump onto, especially like some of this fad diet that we have out here, which promise very fast results. But then again, it doesn't mean that they are healthy at the end of the day. And then we'll reduce the Salome, and of course, we'll continue with the discussion. So do stay with us, but keep tweeting at NTV Kenya, at Lubembe_Winnie. We'll be sampling your feedback after the break. Stay with us.
That stupid judge friend of yours was supposed to help us, and he didn't do anything, period. And now he's involving the studio with what happened with Hema.
Well, they have no proof on it, and that's the reason why
Listen, I'm not going to spend a minute in jail, because that'll put an end to my career and my life over my dead body.
Whoa, Vanessa, hold on a sec. Put that away, don't touch it. Wait, didn't your dad get rid of that gun already?
Yeah, but when that woman who was blackmailing him turned up dead, that same day, my dad came to inform me he'd completely gotten rid of the gun.
Yeesh, Vanessa.
Well, thank you for your time. How juicy.
Juicy.
Join Property Focus every week as we walk you through some of the latest house designs, property, hot deals on land for sale, modern furniture, trendy kitchens, finishes, and also get to hear experts' opinions on matters architecture, building construction, and real estate. Now, catch the show with me, Peter and Gigi, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. only on NTV. Let's go.
Get your New Year's plans backed by facts from your trusted dailies. Get access to the latest in news, sports, business, agriculture, and technology straight to your phone. Subscribe to the e-paper today at epaper.nationmedia.com and enjoy your favorite dailies anywhere, anytime. To sign up, visit epaper.nationmedia.com or email epaper@ke.nationmedia.com. For customer queries, contact epaper@ke.nationmedia.com or call 0790 111 111.
All right, welcome back. Glad you're still with us. But if you're just joining us, remember the focus of discussion today, it's all about nutrition and weight management. Very, very insightful conversation that we're having today. So if you want to be part of the conversation, you want to share your story with us on how you are staying healthy, then feel free to give us a call. The numbers will be down on your screen in just a moment. But better yet, send us a tweet on @NTV Kenya @Lubembe_Winnie. I look forward to actually sample your feedback. Very, very interesting comments I've seen on Twitter, but keep tweeting. I'll be sampling them down in just a moment. But for now, Salome, before I get to you, let's talk to Japheth a little bit as far as then, factors to do with like calories. Most of the things that we don't really focus so much on, we just care, how much do I weigh? How much weight do I need to lose? And then that's all, right? But we hear terms like, calorie intake. You need to watch your calorie intake, metabolism, and all those things. Can you just take us through some of those things and why they are very vital as far as achieving, an optimum weight?
Thank you, Winnie. I think it's a very beautiful discussion this morning, and I'm feeling motivated listening to Amina
and Salome,
transformation,
yes.
everything. Equally, Salome too. Yeah. They are encouragement to many out there struggling with weight. And I think part of the things that I had Salome and Amina mention, that it was not just about going to the gym and then forgetting it. They had to go down to the nitty-gritties of what they're eating, watching what they're eating, staying healthy. And I think you've asked about calories. I think calorie is more of a scientific word of referring to food. But I think for the layman out there, somebody who just wants to understand the basics about food, I think we have the ABC about healthy eating. What we call, Mama taught us about balanced diet.
Yes.
What we call the balanced diet. Taking carbohydrates, taking proteins, and vitamins. And I think I'll just give the simplest of analogy for any other person out there. For anyone Jiko out there to understand. You see?
Yes.
You see, for carbohydrates, the biggest culprit most of the time for weight gain is carbs, carbohydrates, and proteins. And you check in most of our diets, particularly in our local setup, African setup, most of our diet is carbs, is plenty as in carbs. Where some of us come, ugali has to be there.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
There has to be some ugali there.
Yes.
And then there has to be rice for some people, then chapati for some of us, and all those kind of things. So the biggest culprit most of the time is the carbs because of the high sugar content. What many of us don't know is that kulangi mingi bananona. Carbs have a lot of sugar. The body does not store sugar. It converts the excess sugars into fats. So the body will convert those sugars into fats. Then you start seeing the boom. So for any other lay person out there, I would say that for carbs, you need just a fist size of this.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody, and because I learned this from nutritionists, and they were saying, yes, the size of your fist. So someone was like, "Sister, you with your small hands," and someone was like, "But looking at my hand, it's very tiny." So you want to tell me that I only eat that much? I think it's because of what we have been accustomed to, that you have to eat a lot of carbs to kupatia energy. I think looking right into this camera, blessed people, I think I just have to say it straight with that a feast is enough for you. That is enough for your need. It doesn't matter the size of ugali. Sometimes we see you can't see the other person on the other end of the plate, but a feast is just as enough. It gives you the amount of carbohydrates that you need. Sometimes we tend to believe that the bigger the better. No, it's not about the size, but the quantity. It gives you enough energy that you need for the day. But wait, I'm pretty sure you say someone who does like you know, heavy manual work. We'll be like, feast, nanenda kuinua mawe, ama nenda kufanya, you know, like.
Yes,
again.
that is where now we get to, you know, the meal frequency.
Oh, okay.
Most of our time, what we do is we reverse the feeding patterns.
Yeah.
You know, you eat light breakfast, then in the evening you compensate for the entire day.
For the entire day.
Yeah, but sometimes, you know, we have what we call the frequency, meal frequency. So if you know you have a busy day out in the morning, you know, you have a busy day ahead, you start with a healthy breakfast.
Yes.
Just take a normal breakfast.
All right.
What's wrong about taking ugali and skuma in the morning?
It's the best if you ask me.
I agree, it's the best, but you see, the way we've been cultured,
yes,
it's like I take a slight snack, and then you're
then
out to the body.
house.
Then in the evening, you come and then you do compensation. And then once you do what you're calling the compensation, you go sleep.
Yeah.
When you're sleeping, nobody uses those calories.
Yes.
You are not in the mjengo at night. You're actually sleeping.
True.
So the body stores up that excess calorie because it's not used up. You are, at least the metabolism is at way low because you are asleep. And so we sleep late sometimes, and then pile up a lot of calories late into the night, and so the body stores up. So you start seeing the boom. So I'd mentioned about the feast for the ugali, not just ugali,
I mean carbohydrates,
starches,
yeah,
and all, you know, those white foods. And then we also have proteins. That even gets worse, really. You just need like another palm size.
What?
For the beef.
Okay. Yeah, because most people would want to put like
that's where the culprit is.
Yeah.
The carbs and then the proteins.
Okay.
And then
what's wrong with proteins? Because a lot of people sometimes actually substitute. They're like, I am off carbs 100%, but I go ham on protein.
Yeah. You see what the danger of doing off carbs and doing a lot of proteins is sometimes you get into issues where too much carbs, you know, produce a lot of what we call ketoacidosis. The body starts breaking down the proteins and the carbs, and then you start developing ketoacidosis, which is dangerous.
Okay.
So we need the three components of the diet. That's why we call it a balanced diet.
Okay.
So the primary source of energy for the body is the carbs.
Carbohydrates, yeah.
The brain uses glucose as a primary source of energy. So you need the carbs for the active state of the brain. So you can't like substitute and say that. So that's why we need a balance of the three.
All right.
A feast size for your ugali and your
the carbohydrates.
And then
a palm size for protein.
The trick is here now.
Yes.
You heard when Amina was talking, she said that you'll do, and Salome I also think, you'll do a lot of vegetables and a lot of the fruits. That is where we all go wrong.
Okay.
Many of us look...
we're not supposed to do that.
A lot. We ought to do a lot of vegetables and protein. But many of us look at the skuma like, ew.
Okay, quantify a lot.
A lot as big as your palm size.
That's a lot.
For the vegetables.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. You can check around. It's called the Zimbabwean hand jive. It's our local setup for, you know, giving a description, quantifying food portions, what you're calling the calories. You see, in medically, they start going to the calories, into the nitty-gritties. But I think for the street language, we use what we call the Zimbabwean hand jive.
Okay.
Palm size for your ugali, another palm size for your proteins and those kind of stuff. And then the palm, you know, as big as your hands can hold. For
both
vegetables.
of them?
Both.
Okay.
I dare you, when was the last time you tried this?
It's usually like the opposite.
Actually, we do the inverse.
We do the
reverse for like everything. It's like one and then
tidy of the veggies, and yet you need your veggies more. Okay, so Salome, I've been listening to this. So Salome, for you, for the 2.5 months that you were on intermittent fasting, and I think at some point you mentioned that you went off carbs completely, and now listening to Jeff and saying, listen, no, you need the carbs, even if it's like tiny bit, but you need the carbs completely. What would you say to that, and how did that affect, let's say, your journey towards weight loss? But I'm also keen to understand, so within the 2.5 months that you lost your ideal weight, did that help with your PCOS?
Actually, yes, it did. I did not get off carbs completely.
Okay.
I just got off processed carbs.
All right, good.
The bread, no, the patties, I got off from.
Okay.
But when I actually lost my ideal weight, my PCOS, back to the doctor, and the doctor, I remember when I went back for my is that you? Like, are you the same person who walked in half and a month ago? And I was like, yeah, that's me. That's the same person. And he was like, I am impressed. I am so impressed. So the doctor was like, we are on the right path. And then I remember what the doctor told me. He told me, yes, I like that you're losing weight, but I also need you not to lose too much weight. Because I remember he told me exactly that. He told me, I just want you to lose weight, but make sure that you don't lose too much weight, because that one will also affect you in a certain way. So yeah, so we talked about it, and I remember he called a nutrition in, and the nutrition told me, you know what, your ideal weight will be at 64. Don't go. If you go down maybe 60, that will be okay, but your ideal weight should be at 64. So I was like, I'm good. So I did 61, and then slowly I took it to around, so I used to be around 64, 63. So I did that for until I had to gain weight. So that's it. It actually works, I think. Intermittent, the only advice is don't go to the extremes. And
Salome, I feel you're giving like very, very important pointers, especially to those people who just, just want to jump into the bandwagon and be like, you know what, intermittent fasting works. I'm going to do this because I lose weight like Salome within 2.5 months and I'm out. All right. But again, like Salome and Amina emphasized, make sure that you consult your doctor first before you embark, on all this. You want to say something, Jafet?
I think I just wanted to catch that what Salome said before I lose the train of thought. She mentioned something particularly about processed carbs, processed foods. Sometimes we hear about white and brown and white bread and brown rice and all that kind of stuff. Processed means these particular carbohydrates, they are higher in sugars. High in sugars because they are highly refined. The more you process carbohydrates, the higher the glycemic index. The glycemic index is the amount of sugar in the content in them. So sometimes when we go too much on the processed foods, the bread, the cakes, all those kind of processed food on the shelves, they increase the sugar content. So what she said was very, very important. That sometimes you ought to go back to the farm, like the ndumas and the ngwashes. They are much more healthier because of less sugars. They're good carbs you can take adequately for your consumption, but healthy sugars as compared to the processed ones. The processed ones now keep you spiked because of the high sugars. And remember, I mentioned earlier that the higher the sugars, it's ultimately converted back to fat, and then you store that in the body, and then we get back to the cycle of weight and people are booming and those kind of things. So I think that was very important. I wanted to really catch that on that particular moment. So as we do our breakfast, sometimes it's very, I know people are busy. So getting time for this like local and our farm products gets a bit of a cumbersome. But if you can,
please do it.
Please do
it.
It's
much better.
And nowadays, I think I like it. Nowadays, you walk into our supermarkets, into our cafeterias, you find these things on the shelf. People are slowly moving. Like previously you'll associate them with low economic status to eat nduma and eat ngwashe for breakfast. But you see, people are slowly adapting healthy eating and healthy lifestyle. So walk into the cafeteria.
I mean, and we're so lucky and blessed, I would say, in the country because we have most of those things readily available. Because initially, a lot of people used to think healthy is expensive, but really it isn't. Some of these things are just readily available in the market, so it's up to you to just choose which one works best for you according to your budget. I really want to hear Amina's side of this as far as maintaining the ideal weight that she got and just feeling healthy and confident and all those things. But let's take a look at your feedback and what you had to say as far as the question that we asked you is, what do you do to stay healthy? That is the question that we asked you. What do you do to stay healthy? And we have interesting feedback right here. Nyaboke Ombiro says, just doing some exercises in the morning before I go to work. For example, 10 press-ups, jumping a rope 10 times, eating fruit always, especially oranges. That's good. Let's hear what someone else has to say. This is Ward Nyambita. Says, I perform some home physical exercises. All right. And then someone else says, this is Job Kipruto Boyo, says, mostly body exercises. I eat healthy and evading stress by all possible means. All right. And then someone else says, this is Muhindi Raphael, says, exercise, reading, having sufficient sleeping hours. That works for you, Muhindi. Thank you. And then Alan W. Kinywa says, eating healthy and physical fitness. And then someone else says, this is Chet's Caro, says, drinking a lot of water, worry less in life, balanced diet, avoid too much fat on food, less intake of sugary food, medication, checkup, very much important. All right, very, very useful, I would say, feedback, and especially to other people who are watching us and thinking, so where do I start? I mean, the fact that a lot of you do like home exercises, making sure that you watch what you eat. Some people said reading is very good for the brain, for the brain cells as well. So keep the tweets coming. We'll be sampling more as we continue with the show. Remember, it's at NTV Kenya at Lubembe_Winnie. But if you have a question for Amina, for Salome, or for Japheth, and you want to ask them directly, again, the lines are open. So feel free to give us a call, and we look forward to hear your voice. But for you, Amina, again, the drastic change that everybody can witness and the fact that you are very happy about it. How did that help, or did that help with your Hashimoto's?
There are certain markers in terms of when you have a Hashimoto's.
Yes.
Just like any other disease, there are markers to show where you are. And I won't go into the details because it's a bit technical, but there's a specific test. They check your thyroid, and there's one called TSH, which is the thyroid stimulating hormone, the TSH. The normal range is between 2 to 4 for a normal person. So where I was starting at 15.34. That is way above. I remember the doctor asked me, are you okay?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't say it's humanly impossible, but she was like, do you need to?
Yeah.
I actually remember she told me that I need to take bed rest. She was talking to me as if, you go to a hospital, you're healthy, you walk in, and then someone tells you,
they express so
I
much
think you're
concern.
very sick.
Yeah.
And yourself, you're like, okay, I know I'm sick, but I'm not that sick. But your numbers are telling you you're sick. So for me, I really had to read. Knowledge is power.
It is.
What you don't know probably is the answer to all your questions. So I went back and researched a lot about autoimmune disorders and what it means, and then now translating it to, where, because there's a lot of information in the internet. So I was like, okay, I know this about my body, and I know I need to do this. So what does it mean? It means when I wake up in the morning, I need to take this instead of this. So I changed my diet, specific diet, because for Hashimoto's, it's all about what you put in your mouth. The second thing that is important is your stress levels, because one of the symptoms that made me realize, that I have an autoimmune disorder was depression. So you're admitted in for depression, and then you find out you're not really depressed. You have this disease that is making you
causing the depression.
So definitely eating right and working out with any, especially autoimmune disorders, is all that you need, because medication is just 1% of the equation.
I like that. And then, so now where you are at, I'm pretty sure there's someone who's curious to understand. So fine. So how do you make sure that you do not go back to where you were initially and just maintaining this? Because like you said, I really had to put so much work to make sure that I am where I am right now, which is not only manifested physically, but also how you feel. You feel healthier, like you said earlier on, you feel more confident, you're really happy about it. But the work, as far as then maintaining this, is where so many people have a problem. So for you, what do you do just to make sure that you maintain this lifestyle?
For me, the first thing is that I look at it from a point of view where this is my life. There is no April, this date, my life will stop. No, for me, it's an everyday process. So with it comes balance. You need to balance living life. And when I say living life, there are social engagements. There's life to live where you need to, you know, eat like normal people. So I take my life as 80-20. So when I say 80-20, 80% of the time, I am doing what is expected by the book, like being strict. And then 20% is living life, because you need to have a balance from your mental space. Do what makes you happy. And if going on Saturdays to meet out your friends, to hang out makes you happy, do it. But that means that maybe you will eat something that was not on your, you know, on your typical diet. But then again, what do? Come Monday, you hit the ground running. I say there's no pity party. You ate a lot during the weekend. It's Monday, time to clean up. And then give yourself time. Give yourself time. And then when you go, like day one, when you go to the gym and you look at yourself in the mirror, you won't see anything. Absolutely. In fact, maybe you look at yourself and feel bad because you've really worked out and you're not seeing any change. So day one will be like that. But if you look back, maybe 6 months down the line, you're like, God, I can see something. So don't give it time. Because when I look at my photos now that you're showing it, I'm like, is that me? And some of my friends will say, we don't even remember you being that big. So enjoy the process, because there's life. I mean, life will not stop because you added weight.
True. True. Give yourself some bit of grace. You know, that is what you're saying, because there's a lot of pressure. And like you said, someone might actually look at themselves in the mirror and just think, what's the point? I'm not seeing any change. What's the point? And just go back to you know what they were doing. Or others will be like, life is short. Let's just enjoy to the max and do whatever it is that we can in the meantime. But I like your 80-20 rule. I really, really like it. And Salome, for you, in terms of just making sure that you maintain this, and especially for those people who sometimes just usually go ham into all the things, overdoing the same, just to make sure that then they achieve their ideal weight, and not only weight, but also how they feel internally and externally as well. What are you doing, and what are some of the tips that you would share with people before we let you go, because I can see our time is far much spent?
So basically, just watch what you eat. You know, avoid eating a lot of junk food. Take that out of your diet, because the oils in it will basically kill you. And then exercise. Get a form of exercise that works for you. If walking works for you, do that, like me. If going to the gym works for you, then do that. If walking up the stairs up and down works for you, do that. But just maintain a clean diet, eat healthy, drink a lot of water, and stress. Avoid stress. Basically, that is what I do myself, and that is how I was able to maintain the weight gain.
And then again,
and sometimes when you're gaining a lot of weight,
go on.
Go to never know why you're gaining this weight, because my weight gain was being brought. I had PCOS that I didn't know, so it was leading to weight gain. And if I did not have that looked, then you'll never know what is happening to your body. You might think you're eating too much, but maybe you're not. You're just having health complications that are leading to weight gain.
Yeah, and I think this again brings up the point of, you know, regular checkups, which is important. But I understand, again, it's so many, I mean, among so many Kenyans, if it doesn't hurt me, I'm not going to a hospital, you know, because I'm not feeling any pain, but it is affecting you in one way or the other. So again, regular checkups is good for you. You might actually find out things that you did not know about. And an example for you, it was PCOS. Now, someone I'm pretty sure is curious to understand. So now that, yes, you had to take a break because you were sick, what are you planning to do in terms of just making sure that you go back to the ideal weight that you wanted? That is between 61 and 64 is what you said. Are you planning to go back to intermittent fasting? Are you planning to go ham on the same? What are some of the things that you're looking into just to help you to achieve your ideal weight?
Yeah, actually, I moved up to 74. And I've been able to go down to 71 right now. So what I have been doing, basically, I've been eating clean. I just do a good diet. I cheat once in a while.
Yes.
I walk a lot. But trust me, for those long hours, again,
yes,
I am not doing that. I am not going to do 72 hours. No.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. Yes, I fast. I fast 2 times in a week, but I only do 18 hours. I only do fast for 18 hours because I know it actually helps. But I'm not going back to intermittent fasting because I just want to maintain a good weight balance. So I'm not in that part of my life whereby I am too heavy. You know, a lot of people used to tell me, but you are not too heavy.
Yes.
You are only 79 kgs. I told them, according to the doctor, I was heavy.
Yeah.
So basically, I am not really going back to those extremes. I do fast for 18 hours twice a week. And I just want to maintain a weight of around 66. So that will be okay for me. And I'm doing that gradually. Pole too.
Okay.
I do a clean diet, lots of water, of walking. Yeah.
And someone who's
that is what I'm doing.
All right. And for someone who's never ever heard about intermittent fasting and just looking at you and thinking, so during these 18 hours, you do not take any food, right? Does it mean you do not take any form of drink like water, juices, maybe coffee or tea? What usually happens during these 18 hours?
Okay, so during intermittent fasting, you know, you need to get into the keto state.
Yes.
You need to put your body in that keto state when you do intermittent fasting. So basically, you don't eat anything, zero. You don't eat food, any solid food. You don't eat whatever kitu inaitwa chakula. You don't put that in your body. The only thing that does not have calories. So I used to take plain coffee, ile
no
hakuna
sugar.
kitu yoyote, and water.
All right.
And water. And that is why I will advise people, don't start with, 24 hours the way I made a mistake and almost fainted.
All right.
So do pole, 6 hours, 8 hours, and your body will adjust. So we don't take anything. We only take plain coffee and water.
Okay.
So that is what we take.
All right. Anything that does not have calories in them, that is what you focus on.
Yeah.
Don't you feel sometimes the temptation after the 18 hours, to go back and eat a lot of food because you're hungry? Or does it get to a point that the body gets used to it?
Well, then let me tell you, the first 2 weeks, kuna kashetani. I don't know. Ashetani that whispers in your ear, especially when you get to 16 hours. Maybe if you're doing 18 hours. When you get to 16 hours, you know, you've done the 16 hours.
Yes.
Now, after that, something just says, go to the fridge, eat, go to the fridge.
It's like you've done well.
You have done well, and then the last hour, you're like, me, I cannot take it. I cannot take it. And then when you sit down to eat, you're like, can I just bite? And then that is, you end up eating a lot of...
Oh no, we're losing you, Salome.
Because I had a friend who was doing, wait, do you eat? He eats pilau. And I'm like, are you normal? Because when you eat pilau and chips and mahamri, you're not really doing anything to your body. Unapitisha tu your body material.
Yes.
And then you're just eating again. So I told him you need to get a clean diet even after, even when you are doing the intermittent fasting. That is when you adapt the clean diet measures, because if you don't do that, you'll just be torturing your body and nothing will happen.
All right. Okay, Salome, we have to let you go because, again, life, right? But thank you very much really for coming by this morning, for joining in this morning. Thank you very much for speaking with us. Thank you very much for sharing your story with us, and we wish you all the very best even in your journey just to maintain to achieve rather and maintain your ideal weight, and be happy about it.
And thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, and Japhet, let's talk about something. I mean, Salome has said a lot of very insightful information, I would say. And of course, I'll also focus on Amina's in terms of this is where we are at, this is what we have achieved, maintaining this and all those things. But let's talk about genetics, because there's a lot of people who are either struggling with like overweight or underweight, and they're like, you know what, this runs in our family. You know, sisi wote tunakuanga tu, sisi wote tuko tu hivyo. So genetics and weight management as well. Let's talk about the connection between the two.
Thank you, Winnie. Genetics is one of those things we cannot run away from.
No.
You cannot like change your genetic makeup or your gene biomechanism and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But we find many of us are trapped into the genetic makeup, particularly, and most of the time, you find the people who are on the upper side of the scale. People go, you know, they're balloon in the family. And sometimes it's a small kid, and then they go to primary school, and then the peers look at them like, what's up with this kid?
Yeah.
And then sometimes they get into mental issues and depression, and then this kid starts getting low self-esteem, then they start getting dejected. So genetics is one of the concerns that you can't run away from. But that said and done, it's still possible to maintain the weight even with the genetics. Because being conscious of the fact that we are already predisposed to this. We are already predisposed as a family to being, you know, plus size. Then this makes you even more mindful about the kind of food choices that you make. Because, you know, the body is, the way you culture it, it behaves like that. If you culture like pump food, it goes like that. And funny thing with the tummy, the more you give it, the more it expands.
Yes.
If today you, like, you know, the choices that our colleagues, Solem and Amina made, like for fasting. Look, some people, you know, they do fasting for religious purposes, you know, for piety and to be pious. But there are also some physical benefits, like flushing out the toxins, flushing out the excess fat, flushing out the excess sugars. So sometimes once you're aware that as an individual, I'm predisposed to being overweight because of my gene makeup.
Yeah.
So I get to know how to make the healthy choices. Like I can choose to do the intermittent fasting like our friends did, or you can choose to do less on the carbohydrates and the proteins as I had mentioned initially. Because you cannot like do a gene makeover.
Yeah, you cannot.
So you need to be aware of yourself, accept yourself, because you can clearly see in the family we are all big. You can clearly see in the family the way people are looking like. So be aware of yourself.
All right.
And then live with that, and then maintain a healthy pattern of lifestyle.
Yeah, for yourself.
For yourself,
yeah. Okay, so we need to take a break right now, but of course when we come back we'd also need to understand, because we have a lot of fat diets, all right, that's almost everybody is jumping into, and it's very easy to sell to people, and so many people actually fall into the same, or, you know, cases of like slimming pills and all those things, like I would say like shortcuts towards achieving our ideal weight. So we could talk about that as well. So if you have any other question, again, feel free to either post it on our Twitter handle or just give us a call. We're here to answer your questions. But for now, let's take that short break, and we'll be right back with more. Stay right here on Your World.
Watu wa Kenya, Christmas has come early on Star Times. Pay 2 months today and get 2 months of higher bouquet to enjoy the best programs for the ladies this Christmas. Star Times, your best choice for family entertainment this festive season.
Fix. Let's see what they're developing right now.
That is just for me. It really feels very comfy.
Molfix pants with anatomic fit technology. New Molfix pants, an invention from babies for babies.
You should also try Molfix.
To achieve great things in life, you must do little things every day, like the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate.
1, wake up, wake up. 2, brush up, brush up. 3, smile through your
2, 3 with Colgate and give yourself a future to smell about.
She left her past behind.
This town is for losers. You were born to be a queen.
I want to see the world, Mom. I want to change my life.
I wanted to ask if you would like to marry me, Paloma. I have my savings. I'll take care of you. I promise. And you'll never have to work again in your life.
Let's give a round of applause to our first lady.
The First Lady.
Sorry, but you saved us.
Yeah, you did. Thank you, Mike.
I'll go get us some towels.
Unadu nini hapa?
Uko serious?
Monica, kwani siku hizi kazi ya kupika imekuwa na shift?
Na nilimaliza late nikaona ndio alikuwa marika.
Na mbona siku hizi mwambie kila kitu?
Kwani nilikuwa nafanya mwambie kila kitu?
Ukakuja siku moja huyu kijana atakuja kuoa.
Get peace of mind and protect the ones you love with the power of Dettol Bar Soap. It cleans and protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs. So no matter what type of mum you are, trust Dettol.
NTV Jioni, habari za kina, fasaha, tendeti na za kuaminika.
Denisi. Sasa wewe, Mr. Madeni, kwa duka Deni, mama boga Deni, kwa choya kajo Deni. Ukilala Deni, ukiamuka madeni, unasikiaje ukitembea na madeni? Hati harafu ukitembea unaduga denim. Unatembea na maraana. Dawa ya deni ni kuripa.
To get Denny, dial *811*930#. Skiza, non-nation.
All right, welcome back. Glad you're still with us. We are in the last phase of the show, and of course, we just want to understand more about fine. So we have achieved, for example, our ideal weight, right? So then, and also we know what we need to do to make sure that we maintain the same. But then again, when it comes to like a lot of these fad diets, you know, some of these things that we're being sold at. Sometimes we even just forced down on our throats that you have to take this. This will help you. It will help you lose weight or gain weight, because there's some people, like we talked about, both ends, where there's some who are actually struggling with overweight and others with underweight. So, you know, some people sell to you, be like, this will help you gain weight or lose weight. And so many people fall trap into the same and, you know, end up crying later on. So have you ever fallen prey into some of these things? And I'm really, really curious to know that. But first of all, let's talk to Amina in terms of, I'm pretty sure there's someone who's like, fine, so we have achieved all those things, right? But what does your, I would say, typical day look like in terms of the meal plans? And have you even, or are you doing, you know, this meal planning? Does it help? Do you stay, you know, strictly on meal planning? Or what does your typical day look like as far as just making sure that we do not go overboard? We remain with the 80-20, like you talked about.
So currently I'm still fasting. I have never stopped fasting. For me, it goes beyond weight loss. The benefits I'm experiencing are amazing. So on Sundays, I meal prep for the week. Then I usually have my first meal of the day. I never eat before 10. I'm used to it. Like breakfast for me is never an option.
Okay.
And then typically I'll eat at 12. That's when I'll
that's
have
your first meal.
Like the first meal of the day.
All
but when I
right.
wake up, first thing I have water, and then I usually wake up by 4:30. Then I go to the gym. I do my session for 1 hour. That's between 5:30 to 6:30. Then I come home. I take a glass of water with lemon, and then also in the morning, before I go to the gym, I mix apple cider vinegar with water, and then I take my medication, my levothyroxine for my Hashimoto's. Then after the gym, I just take water, and then at around 10 or 9, I take a cup of coffee.
All right.
And then now lunch, during like 12, I have sort of, I will say, brunch, breakfast, sort of pimped. And then I have my second meal at 3.
Okay.
That's like my final meal. Or sometimes, you know, these things,
Yes.
it's not cast on stone.
Yes.
You plan,
What
but there are
works
days,
for you.
especially when you're a woman, and I feel like I need to mention this, women, our bodies are different. We have our calendar. So there are days when your body naturally is inclined to eat more because of your hormones.
Yes.
So there are days that I don't even fast more than 13 hours. There are days I even go for 24 hours without even remembering to eat. But it's like the balance. But typically I fast, go to the gym, eat right, and then I take a lot of water.
Okay.
I take up to, I'll say 3 liters. For me, it's a bit on the extreme.
Wow.
And then I like to sort of take time out in the evening, switch off my phone, just stay in bed and reflect. And every day before I sleep, I tend to look at, okay, have I done something to improve my health, my body? Yes. Have I done anything to improve my soul? Like what makes me happy as Amina? There are things that for me, what makes me happy is, you know, coming home from work and staying with my kids. That for me is the highest level of gratification. And then I look at what have I done to improve my mental space. So at the end of the day, if Monday to Saturday I've done that, I'm well and good.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And the reason why I'm asking this is because sometimes people put so much pressure in terms of, I have to stick by this. I will not go, you know, beyond or outside of what I am planning for my day and all those things. But I like what you said, a bit of flexibility, listen to your body, be kind to yourself, but also do a lot of check-ins with yourself just to understand what have I done today to contribute to make sure that I stay at where I am at as far as my ideal weight is concerned. I'm still stuck at 3 p.m. being your last meal. I'm just like,
but you know, it's like 3 p.m. but there are days it's at 4.
Okay.
There are days it's at 5. You know how when you work, some days it's a long day, but I strive. I'm not made to be perfect. I strive to have, you know, days that I can, you know, if I was to make the decision, I would have been eating at 3 every day, but life happens.
Okay.
One more thing that I feel like it's important to mention is that don't compare yourself. Like
to anyone.
I use my routine. My routine allows me to eat at 12. Maybe where you work or your lifestyle does not allow you. So sit back and look at your life. How does your day look like? I can go to the gym at 5:30 in the morning, but someone else cannot go to that time. Someone else cannot even have the resources to access a gym. So you look at your lifestyle, what works for you, what timings you need to do A, B, and C. Then the minute you work with your lifestyle, the better at consistency. You'll find that it's easy. And like now that you've had, maybe Amina is going to the gym at 5, you want to you know, wake up in the morning and go to the gym. And you're not a morning person, you're an evening person. So do what
works for you.
Yeah, what works for you.
I like that. I like that. And also something else. Just recently I saw a lady, I mean, she's like a public figure, right? She had posted a picture where she had lost subsequent amount of weight, right? And she had like stretch marks, and the comments were very disturbing, right? So I'm also curious for you, did you experience any form of shaming where people probably had things to say about your weight before and now where you are at? Have you experienced any of this?
When I used to be bigger, for me the shaming came from within. Like I used to look at myself and feel so bad. Like outside I would look like I have, because I mean I walk with confidence, but deep down I knew that this is not working out for me. So already in my mind, I had already set, I was like bullying myself. The skinny me was bullying, you know, the me. So I needed to be gentle with myself. So I didn't really experience a lot of body shaming from the outside. But the other side of it is that when I lost weight, you'll get people who make funny comments and say, oh, I wish you look better when you're bigger, or, you know, comments that don't make sense. And then you suddenly realize that people notice you. I'm like, you're still the same person.
Yeah.
You're still, if you're Amina, you will always be Amina.
Absolutely.
Now that I've lost weight, of course, I feel and look beautiful, but I'm still the same person. It doesn't mean when, maybe anything can happen until I'm 110 kgs, but it doesn't change my soul, who I am. So that, within and from outside, I can imagine if you're going through what I went through, like you're being bullied from outside, and then yourself, you're feeling low, that can be a bad place. And that's why I strive to tell women that it's okay to experience these feelings, and that I live by the motto, if you bring negativity, I block you. Whatever source, because it's not important. What you feed your mind, the comments, the feedback you get from people, if you allow it, it's going to, you know, stop your progress. And weight loss is a lot of, you need to tell your mind a lot. It's not even physical. Going to the gym, it's not lifting the weight. Physically, it's not, it's waking up in the morning. The days when you don't feel like waking up, that's the real work. When you have to, it's raining, people, everyone in the house is sleeping, you're like, God, that's in the work. So imagine you're doing that, and then you allow someone else who probably woke up and drank and ate 10 mandazis to bully you. So block them. It's not, you know, it's your life you're creating. Create the life that you want for yourself, and then celebrate yourself. It's not every day that someone will stop you and tell you, hey, Amina, you've lost a lot of weight and you look good. No. So look at yourself in the mirror and feel proud. Even if, and then some people look big, but they are happy with their weight. So whatever size you are, celebrate yourself.
I like that. Protect your space. Protect your peace. Protect your men. I love that. I really, really love that. Okay, so Japhet, let's talk about then some of these fad diets that we said. Sometimes they promise you a lot, and Amina would also want you to chime into the same, where they promise you a lot, but then again, does it mean that it is healthy, you know, and especially when you see the changes that, you know, are very, very drastic, does it mean that it is healthy? And what are some of these fad diets that are out here?
Thank you, Winnie, for that very important question, because those are some of the issues that we are really struggling with, medically, scientifically, and out there. Because there are people who are out to make a cash on the vulnerable, because sometimes being in that condition of plus size, you're vulnerable. You heard what Amina was saying. People, you know, people say things. They talk about your personality. They talk about your, you know. So sometimes emotionally you're at a vulnerable state. So they come with diets and things that appeal to your emotion at that particular vulnerable stage. So you easily find yourself buying into their concepts, because you know, you really want a way out. And most of the time you want a quick way out of that situation. So sometimes you end up finding yourself into those things. And I want to tell you, Winnie, that sometimes they work. You may notice that you're losing weight, but it's not medical. Because sometimes some of the things they prescribe to you are like, you know, slimming pills. Slimming pills, what they do, they alter your appetite. They give you that, you know, the aversion for food. You want to eat food, you don't feel the taste for food. So you look at food, you want to keep
You just don't want it.
So what they do is that they are depriving the body of the nutrients that you need. So it's not, you are not losing weight in a healthy way, but you're losing weight, but you're internally you're suffering, because the body still needs a nutrient, but the pills make you feel like you don't need food. So you look at food and they're like, no way, I'm not touching that.
I am full.
So you feel like you're full. So it's like deceiving the system. You're trying to cut corners with the system. So you end up losing weight, yes, but you're developing other conditions, because now you're not feeding healthy. You're not losing weight in a healthy way. And I think I have to mention this. There are easy ways of identifying some of these quack things. You can just look at and then say this is quack. For example, blessed people, you know, they promise you like quick returns, like lose weight in 2 weeks. And then sometimes they also don't have medical or scientific background.
Yeah.
And then most of the time they have, you know, testimonials and, you know, so-and-so did, so it will work for you.
Worked for them.
You know, they don't base on science. So-and-so did this, and then they are there. It will also, you are not that person. You are yourself. You know, it is not scientific.
Okay.
And you know, most of the time, they promise to you, sometimes they tell you, oh, instant cash returns, if it doesn't work for you, it will work. You will lose weight. But then you will lose weight. Because they know what they're doing. It's an industry. It's an industry, but it's not medical.
Okay.
So they are not scientific, they are not licensed. You know, sometimes somebody calls themselves, you know, World Nutrition Clinic.
Yeah.
But you check within our licensing agencies, you won't find them there.
Not registered,
it's just somebody with a white lab coat, like any guy will just sell my eyes on the street with a white lab coat, and they say nutrition clinic. No, it has to be scientific based.
Yeah.
It has to be medically sound, and it's something that, you know, you are able to verify. You know, you are able to check with our government agencies, you know, prove that this is certified and something that works out. And I want to say, Winnie, medically, you're not supposed to lose like 10 kgs in a month. It's not medically sound. You'll even start looking, sagging skin. You start, you know, people look at you think like you're dying. At least sound should be like 1 to 2 kgs a month or 3 kgs on the max. It should not be like the drastic. You know, once you start having again drastic weight loss, you get into issues what we're talking about, ketoacidosis, and then start having a lot of accumulation of urea and those kind of things because the body's breaking down important muscle. Because what we are aiming at is losing fat. Not losing muscle mass.
Okay.
That is why some people, they lose weight and then they start looking, you know, start looking frail, they start looking sickly because they're losing muscle mass. But our intent is to lose the weight, the fat. So that is why these fat diets and these quack things that you see on TV, you know, and see on social media, they will work. That's for free, I can
But
say.
it's not healthy.
But it is not healthy.
Don't go that way. And do, like you said, do your background research.
Do your background
understand
research.
all of those things. And also something else that a lot of people do is crash dieting, right? And again, like you said, you're introducing this thing to your body, and then the body works too hard that at the end of the day, again, like you said, you look frail. It's not good for you. I mean, were you at some point tempted, or did someone just approach you and be like, hey, listen, I know you're on this journey. How about you try this? It could actually work for you.
I will say for me, it wasn't, when I started actively in 2019 losing weight, I had tried everything. I mean,
oh wow,
there's nothing you will have come and tell me, like, take this, no. Because for 5 years, between my firstborn and my secondborn, I had tried everything. I remember there's a time, sometimes I look back and just laugh at me. I used to go to the gym. So where I used to go to the gym, upstairs and then downstairs there's a supermarket, and then I will work out and then go and then eat hot dogs, like 2 hot dogs and soda. So it beats the logic. Looking at it, I'm like, I would have just slept at home and ate those 2 hot dogs, and you know, because it doesn't make sense. The other thing is that most of these quick fixes, instead of making you healthy, you tend to think it makes you healthy because first of all, you lose the water weight. Water weight is very different from actual fat. When you want to see changes, when I look at you, Winnie, and say you've lost weight, that's fat. And for fat, it's a very different system. Water weight, they help you. They do that because it's probably a laxative, because most of the time you'll go to the toilet. So if you take it and then you lose 5 kgs and then now you go back, it doesn't work. If there was something in this world that people can buy, let's say, that's, just think with me. If you will buy a pill that will make you thin, do you think there will be obesity? No? So why do you keep buying these things? It doesn't make sense. At the end of the day, it doesn't work. Honestly, it doesn't work.
I think it's what Japheth was saying, that you see you are at this stage where you're vulnerable. And the same thing that you were saying, listen, I am somewhat like shaming myself, right? And then someone else comes and does the same. You see, it's like double tragedy. And what Japheth was saying again is like, yes, I'm at this vulnerable state, and I mean, anything I'm sold, I will buy because I'm desperate to, you know, to do this and lose this weight and stuff. So in terms of then making sure, because you decided to go the long way, right? Decided to hit the gym, yes, do intermittent fasting, but also make sure that you observe your diet and all those things. For someone who's like, you know what, I've never done any of those things, I'm interested. I want to make sure that I observe my health, number one, and make sure that I am at that ideal weight that will make me feel comfortable, make me feel confident, but at the same time, I'll be happy with myself. Where would you advise someone to start from?
So for me, the starting point will be first look at your health. Is there anything that you might be suffering from? Let's say you have an underlying condition that you really need to look after. Get that checked. Get like a go-ahead from your doctor. The second point is that start slowly. Don't go expecting to be like, let's say the way Salome said, if you decide to go the intermittent fasting route, don't start from 0 to 100. You can just start by saying, okay, I'll drink more water, and then you go saying, oh, I'll reduce the carbs that I'm taking, baby step, because at the end of the day, it took you time to, you know, get into these habits, and our brains are wired to, you know, repeat the habit that we're used to. So start small and look at your environment. What is it individually? What is it that I can start? Does it mean I don't take, I take more water? Can I start a point where I need to start walking? It's a very individual approach. You look at it and say, okay, and then give yourself time and say, let me give myself, we're in January, most people start their weight loss journey and then within 2 weeks, they disappear. So look at it, give yourself 1 year. Tell yourself by December 2022, you know, I will have achieved, even if it's 10 kgs, don't overthink like that you can do so much. Because I remember the gym, the first week of January, the gym was full. And by now, trust me, they're just the normal members. We're like, okay, this newbies will come and go because it's the beginning of the year. Everyone wants to be healthy. And then by the time January 15 reaches, you're like, I think I'm comfortable.
Yes. At least I did something.
Start small.
At least I went there. Okay. All right. Start small. It's like in 2020, remember when, again, there's a lot of working from home and all those things. We used to see a lot of people jogging in the morning. But as time went by, you only see like 1 or 2 people. All right. But I like that. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Start small and work your way towards, you know, your goals. Right? Like we said, if this is one of your goals, start small and do that. Okay, so for you, Japheth, in terms of for people, because like we said, again, I deal with just being healthy. We're not only focusing on the people who are struggling with weight, others are actually underweight, right? For someone who's watching us and thinking, I want to add just a little bit. Or there are some of us who are like, you know what, I just want to add weight, but in specific areas. All right. So for this cluster of people who are like, I want to add weight, but then we go the unhealthy way. So we eat a lot of cheap foods, we eat a lot of, you know, unhealthy foods to just help us to gain the weight. What would you say? Healthy ways of gaining weight, you know?
Thank you, Winnie, for that question. I know there are some of our precious viewers who are wondering, they're only talking about big people.
Yes. What about us? Don't forget about us.
Like, what about us?
Yes.
I want to say that for that particular group of people, you're struggling to add weight, you're not comfortable with your frame, you want to like get a bit high on the side, it's possible to add weight in a healthy way.
All right.
And part of the ways that you can do to add your weight is, for example, do extra meals. If you're doing 3 meals and it's not working, you can do like 5 meals. It doesn't have to be like 5 big meals. You can do breakfast, lunch, and supper, but have like power snacks. Like at 10 a.m., you take your power snack, do a healthy snack.
Define power snack.
A power snack.
Or be like for 3 mandazis. Power snack.
Power snack doesn't have to be like 3 mandazis. Remember, like earlier on when Salome was mentioned, you can just do like anduma, you know, curry and like nowadays every like office has a microwave nowadays. Just take carry food from home, like you can cook overnight, carry the leftovers. There are a lot of wastage of food, by the way. It's part of the problem we have in our system because we waste a lot of food. But I can easily take that, put in my bag, carry it to the office at 10. what's the problem sitting down at 10 eating cabbage and ugali in the office?
Yeah.
It's your life anyway.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Okay.
But you know what you're doing. So you can incorporate, like healthy snacks during the day, add extra meals, or sometimes you do like energy dense foods. There are those foods that that are high in energy.
All right.
Yeah, like instead you do your bread, you can add a spread of butter, add a spread of margarine, and those kind of stuff. They add energy to the food.
All right.
They are called energy dense food.
All right.
So you keep snacking, healthy snacking, because of the insufficiency. Sometimes you're underweight because you're taking insufficient amount.
Yes.
So I'm not saying overeat.
Yeah.
I'm simply saying you can add extra meals or look for energy dense food.
All
you can check
right.
on site for energy dense foods.
Okay.
Then you incorporate in your daily diet.
Into your daily. I love that. Don't do like a lot of processed food because you want to gain weight. Okay. Amina, very briefly with you. Like we said, this is a very special month for you, and of course the people who probably are watching us and are like, you know what? Yeah, I am suffering from hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's. So very, very briefly, in like 30 seconds, if that is possible, just to talk about this and why people should know about this and get checked.
It's very important for women, especially women, to know about their health, because the thyroid gland is one of the most important glands in our body. So if you feel like you have symptoms, the good thing about the internet is that information is there. Once you feel like you experience symptoms related to any thyroid issues from Graves, Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism, consult your doctor. There's nothing that you can do alone. So consult your doctor, get your medication, and if you're out there and you're already living with hypothyroidism, just know you're not alone, and that it's just, we are a community that, it's an autoimmune disorder, but we are together, and that baby steps you're going to be healthy one day, and that generally your health is more important than any other thing.
I love that. I love that. Your health is very, very important. All right, let's finish up with some feedback as far as what you had to say. And remember, the question that we're asking you today is, what do you do to stay healthy? Now that we are in the beginning of the month, let's hear what people have to say. Sleep well, eat healthier, drink not less than 8 glasses of water per day, and not forgetting a little practice every day. This is from me at _Misla. And then this is Eddie _Kin1 said, I drink more water, exercise, and I am a vegan. All right. And then someone else says at Micheka Enoch, if I'm not wrong, says, I love walking and I prefer taking more of unprocessed foods. Right. That is very good to hear. And then someone else says at Purple _Realm says, eat less meat, embrace veggies, fruits, and plenty of water. White heavy check mark, and exercise. And again repeats, white heavy check mark. All right, so those are some of the feedback and comments you had as far as the question of the day. And on that note, we have to say goodbye. So thank you very much to all of you for tuning in until this time. But of course, a special thank you to our panel of the day. That is Japheth Winston, consultant, clinical nutritionist. We also had Salome Oko, youth development specialist, who joined us via Zoom. And not forgetting Amina Mudekitili, health and wellness enthusiast. Thank you very much to all of you. Have a lovely day. Tomorrow we'll be talking about Come We Stay. All right? You don't want to miss that conversation. See you soon.